ESPN. Tim, go ahead and take it away.
Sure, thanks, Sean. My first question is for David. Could you compare the appetite and the audience between when you first helped launch Glow to the current environment of wrestling that WOW is entering?
The appetite is increased to see women's wrestling because they've been exposed to it. They've been exposed to even starting with Ronda Rousey and MMA fighting. Before Ronda, anyone thinking of a lady jumping into that ring and doing MMA fighting, I don't even think it existed. And she changed that paradigm. She changed that status quo. You had two female race drivers. I know Janet Guthrie was one of the first, but you had two female race drivers in the Indy 500 this year. No one even mentioned it because it was commonplace. What's changed is they know that these wrestlers are athletes. They know Tessa Blanchard is a student of wrestling. They know Santana Garrett grew up at 5 years old as a gymnast. And so what's changed is a recognition of who the women are and their athletic prowess. And never have I been asked in the last 2 to 3 years, is it oil wrestling? Is it mud wrestling? And in the 80s, that's all I asked. I noted earlier in today's commentary, Jane Fonda was the big thing in the 80s. I mean, she was considered an athlete prowess doing the videos. Well, look at today. You could just go down the list of athletes that are females, and they're breaking ground. And Jeanie Buss and AXS TV are changing the status quo by giving you an all-women's wrestling show dedicated for women wrestling. So there's the big difference.
Thank you. And my other question was for Jeanie. Coming from, obviously, a sports background, can you tell me a little bit about, after doing your due diligence and research, what made stepping into this marketplace, this industry, so appealing to you?
It was important to me that women athletes have an opportunity to perform and earn a living. And, you know, as I said earlier, there's, you know, women's tennis, the WNBA, you know, figure skating, but there just isn't enough opportunities that, you know, for the athletes that, you know, we have so many women who participate in college athletics now through scholarships and other programs that have, they're dedicated athletes to earn that scholarship. But now what do they do when they graduate? You know, a lot of them go overseas to play in the different professional leagues overseas, soccer, volleyball. But, you know, there just isn't enough opportunities for women athletics. And this, I felt, seeing the strong female characters stand up and fight their own battles as opposed to running and going to be saved by a man if they have a problem. It's conflict resolution, good versus evil, all taking place in the ring. And as I mentioned, when I was young, something that influenced me heavily was the battle of the sexes between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs. And Billie Jean King has been a role model for me and many women about, you know, standing up for what you believe in, taking on any opponent. And I think those messages are important for women of all ages. And this was the right vehicle. These were the right partners, and it all came together. And I couldn't be more proud to be partners with David McLane and Mark Cuban and Andrew Simon at AXS TV, as well as MGM television, giving us opportunity and advice and kind of helping us present our programming. This is not something that we came up with overnight. This has been years in the making, and I am still blown away at the level of competition, the characters, the performance ability of these women, and they deserve an audience, and this is the right vehicle, and this is something that I'm extremely passionate about, as you can tell by my just the things that I'm saying. I feel like this is like this is where my life has headed, since I was young, since my dad gave me the Supergirl and Wonder Woman comic books, and telling me that women, how powerful women can be, and that women can do anything. And this is just another step in that direction.